أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي ليس لأوليته ابتداء ولا لأزليته انقضاء وانحصرت الأوصاف عن كنه معرفته وردعت عظمته العقول والذي لا تواري عنه سماء سماء ولا أرض أرضا ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على سيد البطحاء سيد المرسلين والأنبياء أبي القاسم محمد المصطفى وعلى الجوهرة القدسية البتول العذراء سيدة النساء فاطمة الزهراء وعلى بعلها أمير المؤمنين وبنيها الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا لا سيما على بقية الله وحجته الكبرى الذي بيمنه رزق الورى وبوجوده ثبتت الأرض والسماء ولولاه لصاخت الأرض بأهلها واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من حين عداوتهم إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم والذين كفروا أولياءهم الطاغوت يخرجونهم من النور إلى الظلمات أولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون وقال الإمام الصادق عليه الصلاة والسلام من شهد أن لا إله إلا الله مخلصا دخل الجنة صلوات We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us yet another tawfiq to be present in this month of Muharram and commemorate and remember our beloved Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Man ahabba an yanzura ila ahabbi ahli al-ard was-sama' falyanzur ila al-Hussein. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam said in this authentic hadith, whoever loves to see the most beloved person among the dwellers of the heaven and the most beloved person among the dwellers of the earth should look at Hussein. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is Mahbub, beloved number one. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam was present and Ubay bin Ka'ab was there with him, and Imam al-Hussein walks in and Prophet said, Marhaban bika ya Zayn as-samawati wal ard. Welcome to you, O the beauty of heavens and earth. And Ubay bin Ka'ab said to Rasulullah, is there anyone other than you who is the beauty of the heavens and the earth? And Rasulullah replied, Inna al-Husayn ibn Aliyin fi sama akbar minhu fil ard. Hussein, son of Ali, on the heavens is bigger than Imam Hussein on earth. And this is where Rasulullah said his famous hadith When he went to Mi'raj, talking about his ascension, and he looked at the arsh and throne of Allah, he saw on the pillar of the throne of Allah, it was written, Innal Husayna misbahul huda wa safinatun najah. Definitely Hussein is the torch of guidance and the boat of success. This is a blessing. There are so many people out there in this world who don't have the tawfiq to say Ya Hussein. They don't have the tawfiq to say Labbaik Ya Hussein. They don't have the ma'rifat. They don't recognize him as the Imam. They don't recognize his walayat. They don't obey. Ma'rifat is all about obedience of the Imam without any ifs and buts. There's so many people who are deprived of this great blessing. Our Urafa say the walayat of Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, walayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam is a ni'matul uzma, the greatest blessing of Allah. There is no blessing greater than that. That's the biggest blessing of Allah. Because this walayat of Imam Ali alayhi salam, walayat of Hassan and Hussein alayhi salam, walayat of the AIM alayhi salam, walayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen is the mizan and the criterion on the Day of Judgment. Where Rasulullah said in the authentic hadith to Imam Ali alayhi salam, Anta mizan al-amal. You are the mizan. You are the yardstick. You are the criterion. You are the measure. You are the scale. All the actions of all the humans and jinns are going to be measured and judged by Allah on the Day of Judgment based on the concept of walayat of Imam Ali. That's the criterion. What's going on in Yemen is about a fight against the walayat of Imam Ali. What's going on in Bahrain, what's going on in Kashmir, what's going on in Palestine, what's going on anywhere against Muslim Ummah is a fight against walayat. How many people understand that? It takes a ma'rifat and insight to even understand the affairs of Islamic Ummah, contemporary affairs. That takes basirat and insight to distinguish between haqq and batil. It would be pathetic for a Shia, a follower of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, who is Al-Faruq al-A'zam, the greatest personality who distinguishes between haqq, the truth and righteousness, and batil, the falsehood. It's pathetic for a Shia, a follower, claiming to be a believer in the walayat of Imam Ali, whose walayat is the mizan and scale on the Day of Judgment for everything to be judged by Allah based on that walayat, that distinguishes haqq from the batil, truth from the falsehood. But we are unable to distinguish what is haqq and what is batil. And we stay confused. How nice that sounds. Is that the belief of walayat? It's not possible. And that's because we learn from the Holy Quran, in tattaqullaha, Allah says in the Holy Quran, in tattaqullaha yaj'al lakum furqanan. If you have taqwa of Allah, Allah will provide furqan to you. That's what we learned from this ayat. If I have taqwa, this is a guarantee from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is bound to provide me the power to distinguish between haqq and batil. If I'm unable to distinguish between haqq and batil, I'm still stuck. I don't even know what is haqq and what is batil, and thus I don't recognize who is ahlul haqq, those who belong to the truth and righteousness, and who is ahlul batil, those who belong to the falsehood. I fail to recognize. I am still confused. Then I must understand there is something missing in my taqwa, because Allah has already promised, in tattaqullaha yaj'al lakum furqanan. If you have taqwa, He will provide for you furqan. But I don't have the furqan. I fail to distinguish in haqq and batil and ahlul haqq and ahlul batil, those who belong to haqq and those who belong to batil. I fail to recognize, and thus I can't support those who belong to haqq because I'm still stuck. And I fail to recognize those who belong to batil, so I can do bara'at, tabarri, disassociating ourselves, denouncing those who are on batil and disagreeing with them and distancing ourselves from them. Bara'at means denouncing, condemning, disagreeing, and distancing with those who belong to batil. Some people are stuck. And I remember my teacher, Ayatollah Jawadi Amuli, Hafazahullah, in his tafsir, was saying the tips of the teachers must be remembered forever. But these are life-changing informations. My teacher said, when Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam taught us the ziyarat of Ashura, ziyarat of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam, he taught us to do the bara'at first, and then taught us about the muwalat and expressing our love towards Imam Hussein. That comes later. First things first. Some people are not done with the concept of bara'at yet. How would the claim of the love be accepted? That's not going to happen. Allah is not going to depend on His principles for my ignorance. Allah never changes His sunnats. We call as-sunanul ilahiyya. Ayatollah Baqir al-Sadr rahmatullah alayh has this book, which is one of my favorite books, as-sunanul ilahiyya fi tarikh, the divine principles and formulas mentioned in the Holy Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has formulas, principled approach. He's running the universe through those formulas that He Himself laid out and He mentioned in the Holy Quran. You want to succeed? Adapt yourselves to the unchangeable formulas of Allah and you would succeed. If I don't make a change in my personality, my beliefs, my behaviors towards the formulas of Allah in the Holy Quran called as-sunanul ilahiyya, His sunnats and formulas are not going to bend for my ignorance or change. I will end up becoming a loser. Allah has already said in the Holy Quran, وَلَن تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا, and you will never find a change in the sunnat of Allah. And that should be the case because Allah is adil. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already taught us that bara'at comes ahead of muwalat. Tabarri is ahead of tawalli. In Arabic, we say at-tabarri, at-tawalli. Tabarri means distancing ourselves from those who belong to batil, from the enemies of humanity. Enemies of Ahlul Bayt are actually enemies of humanity. Distancing ourselves and denouncing the enemies of humanity and doing bara'at from them, denouncing them, that comes first. And that paves the way for tawalli, announcing our love for Ahlul Bayt, to arrive later. Some people are not done with the concept of tabarri yet. This is the reason why they hate Imam Khomeini. That's exactly the reason why they hate Imam Khomeini, because he's the one who taught us applied science. We have been studying, we have been hearing, listening to so many lectures, speeches of scholars and studying from the books. Imam Ali Islam did this and this and this against Marhab, the racist oppressor of that time. Very good. Imam Ali is Al-Insanul Kamil, the most perfect human. He was Kamil and perfect. He is Kamil and perfect. He was successful. He is successful. What's in it for me? What am I supposed to do? Are we just talking about Imam Ali alayhi salam, talking about Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam for the sake of like a story tale, mentioning them, you know, as a theory with nothing to apply in our everyday lives? That's not the case. That's never the case in Islam. Imam Khomeini is the worst person in our contemporary times who taught us the applied science. Just the way Imam Ali did this behavior towards Marhab in Khaybar, he taught us who are the Yazids of today. Right? So we can do bara'at from the Yazids of today. So our ashhadu anna aliyan waliyullah can be saved before Allah. My ashhadu anna aliyan waliyullah is only accepted. لا يقبل إيمان العبد إلا بولاية أمير المؤمنين والبراءة من أعدائه. Hadith of Rasulullah. The iman of a servant is not accepted except through walayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen and bara'at, distancing ourselves, denouncing, condemning the enemies of Imam Ali alayhi salam, enemies of yesterday and enemies of today. That's where he gave the concept of the global Zionist lobby, right? Yazids of today. I was born and raised in Pakistan. I was educated in Pakistan. We were taught in our schools and colleges that our enemy is India. Right? No mention of the Yazids of today. How in the world can I do bara'at from the Yazids of today to provide some relief to the Imam of my time, Imam Sahib al-Zaman alayhi salam, if I didn't do the bara'at from his enemies? And how in the world my belief of walayat of Imam Sahib al-Zaman would be accepted by Allah when I didn't do the bara'at from the enemies of Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, the Imam of my time? Does it make sense to you? Aban bin Taghlib is a faqih, resident of Kufa, a great personality. Tashayyu, the Shia religion, is proud of having personalities like Aban, because Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said to him, Inni uhibbu an yura fi shi'ati misluka. I love to see among my Shias likes of you. That means people who become like you. I want to see more and more and more people among my followers to become like you. This is a great mujtahid from Kufa. Aban bin Taghlib, rahmatullah alayh, narrated so many hadiths from Ahl al-Bayt, from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, student of the Imam. He comes for ziyarat of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, the Imam of his time, all the way from Kufa to Medina. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is a resident of Medina. And when he's departing, finally from Medina, bidding farewell to the Imam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said to him what I recited in the beginning of my speech. إِذَا قَدِمْتَ الْكُوفَةَ فَرْوَيْ لَهُمْ هَذَا الْحَدِيثِ. When you reach Kufa, narrate to them this hadith. مَنْ شَهِدَ أَنْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهُ مُخْلِصًا دَخَلَ الْجَنَّةِ. Whoever bears witness sincerely that there is no Lord worthy of worshipping except Allah, mukhlisan, with ikhlas and sincerity, dakhal al-jannah, he entered the paradise. Aban is a faqih, he's a mujtahid, he's not an ordinary man. He knows very well. And he asked Imam Sadiq alayhi salam that innahu yabna Rasulullah innahu yadkhulu alayya kullu sinfin min al-asnaf. All sorts of people are going to visit me when I come back. Obviously, a great mujtahid coming back after visiting the Imam of the time, Lots of people will visit Aban in Kufa. How was Imam Sadiq alayhi salam? What did he teach you? What did he say? What's his message? And so on and so forth. Am I allowed to narrate this hadith of yours to just anyone and everybody who shows up? Obviously, we pick and choose in the audience, right? We don't say everything to everyone. Prophet has said in his authentic hadith, Inna ma'ashar al-anbiya umirna an nukallim an-nas ala qadri uqulihim. We, the group of prophets, we are commanded to talk to people according to their mental levels. We don't say everything to everyone. So Imam Sadiq Islam replied to him, Naam. Yes, that means you are allowed to narrate this hadith to everyone. And then Imam said, إنه إذا كان يوم القيامة وجمع الله الأولين والآخرين. When the day of judgment happens and Allah gathers the earlier generations and the later generations, فَيَسْلُبُ مِنْهُمْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ عَلَى هَذَا الْأَمْرِ. Allah is going to take away from them La ilaha illallah. Except that person who was steadfast on the walayat of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. The Day of Judgment has 100+ names in Islam. A very beautiful subject if Allah allows us sometimes to just talk about the names of the Day of Judgment and why those names and what are the wisdoms behind that. One of the names is this day is called Yawmul Haq, the day of truth and righteousness. Batil does not exist. We go for batil because of our attachment to the world of matter, attachment towards dunya, right? That's the biggest sin, biggest najasat out there. Dear brothers and sisters, the biggest najasat is not khinzir, not pig or a dog. No way. A pig or a dog never disobeyed Allah for a fraction of a second. No way. The biggest najasat is hubbud dunya, love affair of this temporary world, an attachment with this temporary world, which is the cause of every sin and all the massacre of those prophets who were massacred and those imams who were slaughtered because of this biggest najasat, love of dunya. So Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is telling him, when the Day of Judgment happens, Day of Judgment is Yawmul Haq, right? Batil doesn't exist. There is no attachment with dunya any longer. We are out of this world. There's no reason why a person could say or belong or support batil or even think on those lines. It's all haq. Now, in front of Allah, we will not be able to even say La ilaha illallah if we were not steadfast over the walayat of Ahlul Bayt. Because only those of the people who were steadfast and resilient over the walayat of Ahlul Bayt are the ones who were truthful in their claims of walayat. When you do the bara'at from the enemies of Ahlul Bayt, that's how you prove your walayat. Even we can't be able to say La ilaha illallah in front of Allah. Allah is going to take away. فَيَسْلُبُ مِنْهُمْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ عَلَى هَذَا الْأَمْرِ. So this is where Prophet, when Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he started his propagation, he didn't start from day one to the masses. Hey guys, start praying 5 times a day. Do the fasting in the month of Ramadan. Go for Hajj. No. He never said that on day one. On day one, he said, Qulu la ilaha illallah tuflihu. Say la ilaha illallah and you would succeed. That was so easy for Abu Jahl, the leader of Makkah, to just say one phrase, one sentence, La ilaha illallah, and, just get rid of all that opposition. But he didn't, because he understood the meaning of La ilaha illallah, which I'm sorry to say, so many of the Muslims and believers don't understand the meaning and implication of La ilaha illallah even today in 2022, which Abu Jahl understood back then. And that's why I was not really willing to say. Because he understood when you say La ilaha illallah, then he is not going to be calling the shots. He will no longer be the leader of Makkah. He needs to hand over the walayat. Walayat means hukumat, right? You put a kasra under the waw. Al-wilaya. In Arabic, that means love. Kasra. In Farsi, in Urdu, we say zair. You put a kasra under the waw, it's al-wilaya. In Arabic, it means love. You put a fatha, zabar, how we say in Farsi, on top of the waw, al-walaya, that means hukumat, government. For Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, wilayat is also wajib. In Quran, قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. And their walayat is also wajib. So walayat means government. Like we say, walayatul faqih means the government of the mujtahid. So this is where it is. This is where we understand that he understood, Abu Jahl understood that he has to submit the government to the Holy Prophet, because government then belongs to Allah and his representative, and he is no longer going to be the ruler of Makkah. When you say La ilaha, you mean that you are negating all the taghouts, every taghout, every zalim, every oppressor, everything that people associate as partner or partners with Allah and our self-desires and whims and wishes. We negate all of them, all the batil people, all the zalim people, all the taghouts need to be negated. And that's included in La ilaha, which some people fail to digest up till now, the meaning of La ilaha. That's why they never show up when we ask them to condemn the oppressors of today. They are silent, laid back. Can we request all the brothers to please move forward so we can accommodate those who are coming in the hall?
On the side of the stage, can they go inside, please? On the sides of the stage, can they go inside?
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. And I remember my teacher, Ayatollah Jawadi Amuli Hafadahullah, was saying, Rutbatu tabarri muqaddamatun ala rutbati tawalli. Means doing the bara'at is ahead of doing the walayat, announcing the walayat. وَإِنَّ وَلَايَتَهُ, the hadith says, وَإِنَّ وَلَايَتَهُ لَا تُقْبَلْ إِلَّا بِالْبَرَاءَةِ مِنْ أَعْدَائِهِ. Walayat of Imam Ali is not accepted except through the bara'at from his enemies. How many people do the bara'at from the Yazids of yesterday and today? I keep on saying Yazids of yesterday and today because some people find it so easy to do bara'at from the Yazid of yesterday. That guy, La'natullah alayh, is dead. He cannot harm me and you any longer. His threat is gone in the bottom of the hell, right? But when it comes to the Yazids of today, some people are mute, silent. It takes a person to be a statue to be silent. We are not stones and rocks. We are humans. We have to take sides, right? If we are indifferent, if we are careless, if we are neutral, actually, there's nobody who's neutral. The one who claims to be neutral is actually intentionally siding with the oppressor and allowing the agenda of the oppressor and the Taghout to continue through his silence. He's endorsing his agenda. So in the real sense, the one who claims to be neutral is actually not neutral. He's a supporter. So Forget about believing in illallah. Our la ilaha is not done yet. Because tabarri, bara'at comes first ahead of tawalli. Look at how far we are. Imam Sadiq Islam was talking about Ayatul Kursi to this person, and this ayat where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَوْلِيَاءُهُمُ الطَّاغُوتُ. Those people who did kufr, disbelief, their awliya are Taghut. Their supervisors are Taghut. They are working under the supervision of Taghut. And Imam Sadiq Islam asked him, who are these people? This guy said, well, this ayat is talking about kafir people, disbelievers. Imam Sadiq Islam said to him, وَأَيُّ نُورٍ لِلْكَافِرِ. What nur does kafir have? Look at the ayat of Quran, Ayat al-Kursi. Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, those who did the disbelief, the kufr, أَوْلِيَاءُهُمُ الطَّاغُوتُ, their supervisors, their awliya are Taghut. What do the Taghut do? يُخْرِجُونَهُمْ, they take them out. Out from where to where? يُخْرِجُونَهُمْ مِنَ النُّورِ إِلَى الظُّلُمَاتِ. They take them, the Taghut, once you accept the Taghut and operate under the Taghut and follow their agenda, what they do towards you, they take you out of the divine light towards darknesses. What happens when a person is taken out by the Taghut from the divine light, Nur, towards Zolomat, darknesses? What happens at the end result? Ulaika ashabun nar. They are the ones who belong to the hellfire. Hum fiha khalidun. They will stay there forever, for infinity. A very serious matter to accept the Taghut. Why in the world should we accept the Taghut today? If I'm supposed to accept the Taghut and it's allowed to accept the Taghut and Zalim and oppressors today and join their bandwagon and do what they are asking us to do and follow the agenda of the Taghut, then why wouldn't I accept the Taghuts in the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam? Why bother to be a Shia then? If I'm living in the time of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam in Syria, in Damascus, the original name is Damascus, not Damascus. Names should not be changed. If I happen to live in Damascus, in Syria, in the time of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, and Syria is a renegade government of Muawiyah against the Khalifa of Muslimin, Imam Ali alayhi salam. We call him our first Khalifa. Our Sunni brothers call him the fourth, first or fourth. He's the Khalifa. Anyone who rebels against the legitimate Khalifa is a rebel. If I am living in the time of Muawiyah in Damascus, is it allowed for me? Is it allowed for me to support Taghut Muawiyah and support his agenda just because I am living in Syria? Is that allowed? Just because you live in a country, is it allowed for you to start supporting the wrong agenda? That's not illegal. Oh, I live in America. We have our First Amendment right. We call it the First Amendment right. Freedom of religion. We have a right to disagree. We in a civilized way. We disagree, denounce the foreign policy, certain things. That's our right. That's not illegal. To make our voice heard, to denounce and to distance ourselves from any oppression or any policy. Is that illegal in any country? I'm not talking about some of those dictatorships of the Middle East, but otherwise in the Western countries, that's not illegal. We never support the Taghut. So Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said to him, this person who was saying this Ayatul Kursi is dealing with the kafir people. When Allah said, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, those who did the kufr, أَوْلِيَاءُهُمُ الطَّاغُوتُ, their awliya and supervisors are Taghut. Imam Sadiq said to him, are you Nurin lil kafir? And what nur does the kafir have? See, the ayat says, the Taghout take them out from the nur, divine light, towards dhulumat, the darknesses. So they were in nur and divine light, and Taghout took them from nur to the darknesses, right? So they were in the nur. If this ayat was dealing with the kafirs don't have any nur. They were never in nur. They are not in nur. So this ayat is not dealing with the kafir. This ayat is dealing with those who believe. If a believer supports the Taghout, then we are done with the belief system. Forget about the prayers and fastings and hajj and zakat and fitrah and khum. That's furu'uddin. That's the branches of the religion. We are not there yet. Right now we are talking about La ilaha illallah, foundation of Islam, essence of Islam, belief system, usuluddin. We are not there yet. We are not up to the salat and some. That's part of the branches of the religion. That's too far. Don't even mention, well, I also pray, I fast, I give charity. Oh, no. We are not there yet. First things first. Let's talk about the beliefs first. We are talking about Tawheed right now. Even your Tawheed is not proven. Throughout the history, the Shia, the followers of Ahlul Bayt have been persecuted, victimized, killed, jailed, murdered throughout the history, but we never did the bay'at and oath of allegiance of any Taghout throughout the history. Be it Banu Umayyah, the Umayyads, or Banu Abbas, the Abbasids, or anybody else who came after them. We never support the Taghout. Yeah, there were some other sects of Islam who had those, Darbariyin, Mullah Darbari, those mullahs, so-called scholars, fake scholars, who were supporting the establishment and the Taghouts, fabricating narrations in the favor of Banu Umayyah. That's on their side. None of the Shias throughout the history have such a glorious past. We never accepted any Taghout, and we do not accept the Taghout. Some people ask, what did we get from the Islamic Revolution? Imam Khomeini Ridwanullah alayhi said, Nagid, hey Nagid, inqilab baray ma che kar deyas. Shuma baray inqilab che kar deid. Don't say, what did the revolution do for me? What did you do for the revolution? The biggest service of the Islamic revolution is La ilaha illallah. That's the biggest service, teaching us to recognize the enemies and Yazids of today, and thus doing the bara'at from the Yazids of today and making ourselves eligible to announce that we believe in the walayat of Waliyul Asr Sahibul Zaman alayhi salam. That's one of the biggest blessings, right? So if you look at how the Urafa have been guiding us, and I always say in my speeches, I wish our community had been learning their religion from those who are Urafa, those who have irfan, the highest knowledge of ma'rifat of Sahib al-Zaman alayhi salam, knowledge of ma'rifat of Ahl al-Bayt, knowledge of ma'rifat of Allah, ilm al-irfan. Those who have the tazkiyatun nafs, taharatul qalb, cleanliness of the soul, thus they have removed the hijabat and curtains, and thus they are eligible to see the batin and hidden realities. And thus they can see their own souls. Marhalatul tajreed, how we call it, separating your soul from the body. And when you separate the soul from your body, you can see your own soul. When you can see your own soul, you can see the souls of others. When you can see the souls of others, you've entered into the realm beyond the time and space, because soul is the nur of Allah, in the alam nur, in the divine realm of divine light. That's beyond time and space. So now you can see the past, the present, and the future, because you entered into the realm of divine light. My teacher, Ayatollah Hassanzada Amuli, Rahmatullah alayh, he passed a few months ago, one of the greatest arifs of these times. And I can challenge, his books cannot be understood by even an ordinary scholar. Until you have certain prerequisites of irfan and falsafa, you won't be able to understand what is written between the lines. Intentionally so, all the Orofa write their books in a way that only those who deserve can understand, and those who don't deserve to get this knowledge must not be able to understand, and that's justice. That's nothing but fair. He said, today I recited this surah of Quran, and the whole surah was personified, came in a form, Suratun Nuraniyya, a form of divine light in front of me. I saw that surah of Quran. We believe in Tajassumul Amal. We believe all our good deeds are personified. We will see our salat, our prayers that we used to pray back then in the life of dunya, in the grave. We will see our fasting. We will see our hajj. We will see our zakat, our fitrah, and so on and so forth. All the amal will be visible to us. It's just that the mashallah, the Orofa can see that today, which everybody is going to end up seeing. And barzakh, that's not a big deal, where even the kuffar will end up seeing it. The big deal is that we purify our souls. So we end up seeing the malakut, the batin, the hidden realities of the things today through our purification of the soul. That's a big deal. So, such a great arif, Ayatollah Hassanzadeh Amuli, Rahmatullah alayh. I studied some of Al-Asfar al-Arba'a of Mullah Sadra, benefited from his lesson. So he was senior than Samahatul Wali al-Faqih, Islamic leader. Please recite one salawat for Samahatul Wali al-Faqih. So Ayatollah Hassanzadeh Amuli, Rahmatullah alayh, came to see Samahatul Wali al-Faqih, one Arif meeting with the other. You cannot find a single Arif who opposes Walayat of Faqih. Impossible. They know which Arif is how much close to Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. In that realm of Noor, why in the world would they oppose? Why? You can see alims. You can see a lot of alims who oppose Walayat of Faqih. It makes sense, because those who learned certain knowledges but failed to act properly and completely and failed to purify their souls properly, and they are still in the hijabatun zulmaniya and hijabatun nuraniya, all sorts of hijabat. Oh, it's understandable if they oppose. And some of the alims and some of the zakirs, some of the orators have become diplomats, I'm sorry to say. And I remember Samahatul Wali al-Faqih, in one of his statements, he was saying, Man diplomat nistam, man inqilabiyam. I'm not a diplomat, I'm a revolutionary. Some people have become diplomats. Everybody's okay. You know, he's also okay, he's also okay, he's also okay, everybody's okay. No, 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 no. Everybody is never okay. Those who belong to the haqq and truth and righteousness and are ahlul haqq are okay. And those who are ahlul batil are not okay until they correct themselves. Those who support the walayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen, which is the criterion in the eyes of Allah, are on the Siratul Mustaqim. And those who don't support the walayat are not okay until they do the tawbah. Everybody is not okay. Everybody is not okay. So my teacher, Ayatollah Hassanzadeh Amuli, comes to meet Samahat al-Wali al-Faqih. And he addressed him by saying, Mawla Yeman. Ayatollah Hassan Zada Amali was senior in age than Samahatul Wali al-Faqih, the Islamic leader. Senior in age than him. Ilm and taqwa, Allah knows best. And Samahatul Wali al-Faqih, Islamic leader, showing his tawadu, modesty. He replied to him, in other words, which I'm paraphrasing in my words, and why are you saying this? Obviously, out of tawadu and modesty. And Ayatollah Hassan Zada Amali, rahmatullah alayhi, replied, if I have seen any speck, any slightest dot of uncleanliness in your soul, I would have never said that statement to you, that you are my Mawla. These people have the Madi, the past, the Hal, the present, the Mustaqbal, the future right in front of their eyes. They are in the realm of Noor, where time and space and its limitations doesn't apply. From the beginning till the end, the spirituality of a person has no najasat, no uncleanliness. Who cares about what people may say or enemies of Islam may say? You know, Samahatul Wali al-Faqih hafadhahullah is our red line. We are not going to tolerate anybody insulting the deputy and naib of Imam Sahib al-Zaman alayhi salam. If you are unable to defend, what did we learn from Karbala? What did we learn from Muslim ibn Aqil? Salamullahi alayhima. What did we learn from the history of Amir al-Mumineen, from Imam Hassan alayhi salam? Muslim ibn Aqil was not Masoom, right? But he was sent by Imam al-Hussein, is serving as a naib and deputy of Imam al-Hussein. Isn't it wajib on the people of Kufa to obey Muslim ibn Aqil? And again, don't say we pray and fast, so we are religious too. We are not drinking alcohol. Oh, no, that's not it. And we are not there yet. We are not talking about Furuddin again. We are not talking about the branches of the religion, prayers, fasting, hajj, zakat. No. We are talking about the Islamic beliefs first. We are not there yet. People in Kufa were also praying and fasting, right? Tariq Abi Mikhnaf narrates 18,000 people wrote letters to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. 4,000 people did the oath of allegiance towards Muslim ibn Aqil. And 300 people were accompanying him when he finally staged his uprising against the Taghout Yazid and his governor Taghout ibn Ziyad. 300 people only came out with him as he's walking towards Darul Amara, the royal compound of Taghout. By the time of Maghrib arrives, people prayed the Salatul Maghrib behind him. There were mothers coming, grabbing the hands of their children. You need to go back to your home. Mothers grabbing the hands of their sons. You need to go back to your home. Leaving the naib and deputy of Imam Hussein alone. Actually leaving Imam Hussein alone. Actually leaving Imam Hussein and his walayat. Actually leaving walayat of Imam Ali alone. Tariq Abi Mikhnaf says when the time of Maghrib arrives, there were 25 precisely. 25 people praying the Maghrib in Jamaat behind Muslim ibn Aqil. And after the Maghrib, as he finally steps into the royal compound of Taghout ibn Ziyad, the governor of Yazid, he finds there are 0 people accompanying him. 18,000 wrote letters, 4,000 did the bay'at and oath of allegiance, 300 accompanied him when he came out for staging the uprising, 25 by the time of Maghrib prayers, 0 when he stages the bara'at against the Taghout. What's the end result? We send the la'nat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Imam al-Baqir alayhi salam taught us that la'nat in the ziyarat for all those people who did khiyanat towards the walayat of Hussein ibn Ali alayhi salam and supported the Taghout. If you support the Taghout, You are part of them. And the interesting part is that they don't consider you to be part of them. They are just using you and dumping you after they take their benefit. That's the more interesting part. You're not going to get any benefit from them except what is destined by Allah. And what is destined by Allah doesn't require for me and you to sell our fate to get it, because it's already destined by Allah. Even when we don't compromise, we are still going to get it because it's destined by Allah. I hope people understood that much. Umar ibn Saad, commander-in-chief of Yazid's army, la'natullah alayhim ajma'een, he was promised to be given the government of Ray, a city in the outskirts of Tehran, which is today part of the greater Tehran. Yazid never gave him. Jawda bint al-Ash'as, wife of Imam al-Hassan, poisoned Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. Muawiyah promised her, I am going to marry my son Yazid and you are going to be the queen of the kingdom. After killing Imam Hassan, when she goes all the way from Medina to Damascus, Muawiyah said, when you didn't have mercy on a person like Hassan, how would you be doing mercy towards my son Yazid? And never married her with his son. That's the interesting part. I wish people understood that if you support the Taghout, then you are the loser. I see Ayatollah Karimi, rahmatullah alayh, passed away. Such a great mujtahid. He was saying, I have nothing to present to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The only thing I can, obviously he's saying out of tawadu and modesty, the only thing I have to present before Allah is that I was the one who announced the name of Samahat al-Wali al-Faqih, Islamic leader, in the session of Majlis Khubregan, Majlis Ahl al-Khibra, and I was the one who brought up his name ahead of anybody else. And this is the service that I'm going to say before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that that's the only thing I did in my life. If you can't understand the ma'rifat of the naib of the Imam, how would you have the ma'rifat of Imam alayhi salam himself? It doesn't add up. We go step by step, right? You know the story of that Arif Shams Tabrizi rahmatullah alayhi? He was walking with his student and they encountered a river, water. And this great Arif said to his student, say my name and start walking over the water behind me. This teacher is walking over the water and his student is walking over the water behind him. Until in the middle of the walk, he thought, let me move forward faster, get closer to the teacher to see what is he saying. The student went closer to the teacher, this great Arif, and he heard the teacher was saying, Ya Ali. He said, what? He himself is saying, Ya Ali, and he asked me to take his name and walk over the water. Why wouldn't I say Ya Ali as well? What's wrong with that? And he said, Ya Ali, and he drowned in the water. The teacher is an Arif. They don't have hijabat on their qalb, right? He turned around and extended his hand to take him out of the water. And he said, what did you think? They know it. They can read the mind. Depends on your level of ma'rifat. He said, yes, teacher, I thought that let me move quicker to hear what are you saying. And I heard you were saying, Ya Ali. So I said to myself that what's wrong if I also say Ya Ali? Why did you ask me to say your name? Why shouldn't I say Ya Ali, Mawla Amir Mumin's name? What's wrong with that? And the teacher said to him, you don't even have the ma'rifat of your teacher. How would you have the ma'rifat of Imam Ali? That makes sense. You don't even recognize the highness and the spirituality and the level of your teacher. You didn't even comprehend that. And you're talking about the greatest personality of the universe after Rasulullah, Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. We go step by step, right? So this is where Samahatul Waliyul Faqih Hafidhahullah is the izzat and dignity and sharaf of Islam. And we find that there is no one in the camp of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein who ever even said any sentence on these lines, not even a child. You can't even find Sakina bint al-Hussein, salamullahi alayhima, a little girl asking his dad, Dad, what's wrong if we accept the Taghout, Yazid, for maybe an hour or so, maybe 5 minutes? At least I'm going to get some water. I'm dying of thirst. Did Sakina say that? Even a baby, a toddler in the camp of Imam Hussein is not going to ask to support the Taghout. That's unthinkable for those who belong to Ahlul Bayt to support the Taghout and work for their agendas. If you support the Taghout, your iman on the Wilayat is gone unless you do the Tawbah. And the benefit of believing in the Naib of the Imam, dear brothers and sisters, are so many. But the most significant benefits, 3 of the most significant benefits, you will end up recognizing who are the Yazids of today. You will end up recognizing what are the plots of the Yazids of today. And you will end up recognizing what are the solutions to those plots. There's only one throat on the planet Earth that is empowering the Islamic Ummah and teaching them and providing them the insight about these 3 things apart the rest of the things. If you want to know what is the mawqif and stance of Imam Sahib al-Zaman Islam about Bahrain, look at what Samahatul Wali al-Faqih is saying about Bahrain. If you want to know what is the mawqif of Imam Sahib al-Zaman about Kashmir, about Gaza, about Myanmar, any place, look at what Samahatul Wali al-Faqih is saying. Because Na'ib ul-Imam is not going to say anything except what Sahib al-Zaman alayhi salam agrees upon. So Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is invited into the darbar and court of the governor of Yazid in Medina, Walid, la'natullah alayh, and he presented the news that Muawiyah died, Yazid became the ruler, and he asked me to take your bay'at, oath of allegiance. Asking for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Ayyuhal Amir, inna Ahlul Bayt al-Nubuwah wa ma'din al-Risala. We are the Ahlul Bayt of the prophethood, and we are the minerals of messengership. Wa mukhtalaful malaika, angels descend upon us. Wa mahbatul wahi, revelation descends upon us. Bina fatahallah, Allah started through us. The nur of the Prophet is the creation number 1, right? Imam Hussein's nur is part of the nur of the Prophet. They are the creation number 1, product number 1 of Allah. Bina fatahallah, Allah started through us. Wa bina yakhtim, Allah is going to end through us. Look at the marifat, look at the profile of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, asking to do the oath of allegiance towards a person like Yazid. Wa Yazidu rajulan sharibul khamar, he drinks alcohol. Qatilun nafsil muhtarama, he kills the respectable life. Mu'linum bil fisq, openly performs the harams. Wa misli la yubayi'u mislahu, and a person like me shall not do the bay'at and oath of allegiance of a person like Yazid. That means throughout the history, throughout the centuries, up till the last day on earth, anyone who believes in Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam can never ever support any oppressor or any Taghout. Now Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam is departing the city of Medina. This narrator is from Kufa. He narrates he arrives on the same day when Imam Hussein was leaving his hometown. And he didn't know where is the house of Abi Abdullah. He asked somebody to give directions. Somebody told him to go such and such place. He went there. He saw Abi Abdullah Hussein is sitting on a chair. Sitting on the chair. And the members of Ahlul Bayt are there. They're helping out to those ladies of Ahlul Haram to come one by one and ride over those camel train. And these members of Ahlul Bayt were helping them departing the city of Medina until he saw that somebody, a lady, a dignified lady, stepped out of the house of Imam Hassan. And these youngsters, they stood up in respect of the lady and they helped her to ride the camel. And he said, I asked, who is this lady? And they told me, this is the younger daughter of Ali ibn Abi Talib, Kulthum. And then he said, I saw another lady coming out. Everyone stood up in the respect of that lady. And one young man put his knee as a stepping stone for this lady to step on it. The other one was holding her hand to comfortably ride over the back of the camel. And everyone is standing in her respect. And I asked, who is this lady? They told me, this is the eldest daughter of Ali, Zainab al-Kubra, Aqilatu Bani Hashim. Imam al-Hussein is departing Medina with his family. What a sad moment. Nobody came. History doesn't tell us that people coming to Imam Hussein and saying, Ya Aba Abdullah, please don't leave this town. This town is yours. I'm going to sacrifice my life ahead of you. I will never allow any Taghout to harm you. I will sacrifice before you. Nobody came. Nobody came to do that. For 3 days, this city of Medina was subjected to the zulm of Yazid. Later on, Waqi'at Harra happened and 8,000 illegitimate children were born. Did we save our lives? Did we end up saving our dignity for supporting or staying silent in front of the Taghout? Some people think they are smart by supporting the policies of Taghout. We can outsmart others and outsmart the Naib of the Imam. So Imam al-Hussein is departing. When finally the time came after Ashura, this caravan was departing Karbala towards Kufa. Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam is the one who helped everyone to ride, supporting everyone, providing the need and the support for everybody, including Imam al-Sajjad to Imam Sajjad. Finally, Sayyidah Zainab is standing there in Karbala. There is nobody to help Sayyidah Zainab to ride the camel. She's obviously so weak with all the pains that she has received. At that occasion, when she was needing help to ride over the camel, she did not recall her sons Aun and Muhammad at that occasion. She did not recall Ali al-Akbar. She did not recall, Qasim ibn al-Hasan at that time. She recalled Abul Fadl al-Abbas at that time. The way Abul Fadl Abbas was the one who was helping Sayyidah Zainab ahead of everyone else. She recalls Abul Fadl Abbas.